Ambe matata Siwo pitapan Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman Ambe matata Siwo pitapan Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman Ambe matata Siwo pitapan Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman Ambe matata Siwo pitapan Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman Yekin mi gome Kaina sunigin uman.
We always start with ceremony. We always start with tobacco. We always start with our sacred medicines and our water.
This is our constitution. This is our nationhood. This is our identity. This is our law, the pipe ceremony. So I think for me that, of all these years, I've practiced that same principle with who we are as people. So that's why I honor pipe ceremonies. That's why I honor traditional laws like this we have today and the songs that we sing, because of those are the individual rights that we are given by the Creator.
That the pipes are about to be lifted, has the power to invoke the Spirit to come within our presence, to guide us, to teach us.
Because ceremony involves giving thanks, and ceremony involves commitment, and ceremony involves when we make a promise, right? This is what I'm going to do. Creator, I pray to you to help me. I'm a pitiful human being. Without you, I'm nothing. I commit to do this as my thanksgiving for you giving me life today. It's such a simple prayer, but it's not understood and it's not lived. And to begin the process through that ceremony, it had to begin like that in order for it to have the spirit of what it was intended for.
This whole process of Wahbung and now Wahbanang that we have been involved with began with a ceremony done in 1971 by the late Louis Prince.
Wanika no se wanika tanas kumatan ko tawin now waniska no se way Waniska no se se waniska pemionagwan kitaskinau waniska no se we ai
My father was given a name, a headdress, and a pipe, and initiated as a leader. And the Spirit was invoked to support the work of the leaders of that time.
You probably recall in 1969 when the government of the day thought it was important for all of us to become like them. Under the leadership of the Trudeau, the father of this current Prime Minister, a great legal mind that he had said to us, for collective rights, individual rights will come first. To be just, you should become like us. So we proposed a white paper to dissolve us, make sure that we fade away, that no longer reserves, no more special rights, no more treaty rights, no more status that we had before, no more ceremonies, no more languages. But our leaders at the time recognized how important that was.
As difficult as things were, these were exciting times. The resurgence was happening within the people. The brotherhood under a strong leadership created a hope and excitement for the future. That was Wahbung. A movement to offer clear direction and to challenge the Canadian government to honor and respect the original intent of the treaties. And simply, a treaty was a relationship that was to reflect the respect of the uniqueness of the original independent nations of this land, and a declaration of our resolve to be given an equal opportunity to share in the wealth of our homeland.
One in particular that I was inspired by is Dave's father, the great Dave Prashane. I had come to a meeting in a Savoy High School to listen to the leadership at that time just packed, when this great leader stood up and said to the government, we, as Indigenous people, First Nations people, can speak for ourselves and do things for ourselves. I was inspired by his speech because that's the first time I ever saw one of our people stand up to the government to tell them the whole truth about who we are.
We speak as a people, strong, proud, and most of all determined, stunned by deceit, but also a people who will not be put down. For when we speak of peace and justice and freedom, we do not speak of words nor of dreams. And we obviously do not speak of the present realities. We speak of what we are determined to achieve as a group of people.
Wahbung represented the voice of the people. It proposed ideas of how we could be removed from our marginalized world to a place where we could live our dreams, our autonomy and our sovereignty as a people. All it has required then and now is the opportunity to share in the wealth and the abundance of the land, and the respect to live the ancestral ways of our people.
In fact, what we have gone through as a group of people, what we have survived, what today we must still survive, has left its mark on all of us as individuals, and will leave its mark on all our people forever. And for us, this has made the solid basis of determination. We have considered your position and your problems, but we point out to you the results of our choice to cooperate in 1871, and this pattern must not be repeated. This pattern simply will not be repeated, because we will not take that direction. We are the only ones that will solve those problems. We want our rights, recognition of our Aboriginal rights, our treaty rights, and not just paper rights. And we want them now. Our hunting rights. Today, we have no choice but to break other laws, your laws, because we believed in our agreements we signed, and we will continue to honor those agreements.
What I have come to realize is how significant and important that ceremony done by the late Louis Prince really was. Harry and I were present, and we have shared the story many times. We remember the instructions the elder gave to the leader being honored. The message was simple: help open the door for the people to return to their way of life. A door was opened by the leaders of that time to restore self-determination and unity as a people through walking the path of our identity as Anishinaabe, through our ceremonies, our languages, and our way of life. Unfortunately, there were not many who took advantage of this.
Wahbung was a way forward based on, it was more a policy perspective. It was a rights-based approach, primarily based on treaty rights and what should have been provided to our people. Our responsibility is to pray and to help each other. Our responsibility is to ensure that what we do every day provides for a better tomorrow, even if it's just tomorrow, actual tomorrow, the next day. And that is something that many people don't understand, their responsibility in all of this. And that's the other thing that we talk about in Wahbanang is we are where we are because we haven't done the things that we're supposed to do.
The movement became focused on challenging the governments and institutions that had a deep impact on our oppression. Not much has changed. The legislation of the Indian Act continues to overrule our independence and our right of autonomy.
Coming full circle from that to the Wahbanang that was shared is addressing the spiritual aspect which was missing in Wahbung.
Everything begins with spirit. Our position is to establish our true leadership with the full autonomy of deciding our own destiny and our own future. This leadership must be based upon the spirit of our ancestors lived. Modeling colonial leadership disconnects us from our identity and our autonomy. This document was not made for the government. It was made for the people. And what we are proposing does not need the validation or approval from any of those that are oppressing us. We need to establish our own leadership now. And we exercise our leadership by supporting our identity that has the knowledge and the understanding of what reflects who we are, the unique, distinctive, free and independent original people that are the true leaders of our homeland. We need to stop acting from a marginalized position, engaging with the colonizer from a defeatist perspective, and always asking for our rights and submitting ourselves to be continuously treated with disrespect. Our position is about spirit and leadership.
Wahbanang is about what was given to us by our Creator and what is spiritually required to live a good life, aside from policy and aside from money. Money drives the world, and it's been to our detriment.
Continuing to play politics with our lives will not resolve what we need the most. We need connection to the spirit and the land. We need to spend more time on the land and within the sacred lodges of our people. It really is a time to heal.
So we need to return to the original instructions, and Wahbanang provides that.
So this document that I present to you is a reflection of the times, because the document that you probably see in written form, when I was written 50 years ago, came from a certain angle, but kind of omitted that, didn't allow the original teaching for our times. Because at that particular time, our elders were still very, very adamant to keep our teachings in the background. But today, things are different. Today is a time to share to share the wisdom of our people, the gifts of our people, the traditions of our people, especially that pipe ceremony.
It was really important to begin the whole process in ceremony, and I'm grateful that Grand Chief Dumas started it in that way, in asking our knowledge keepers for advice on what do we do next? How do we move forward so that life can be better for our people?
And I say it again, it was done through ceremony, through meeting in the lodge, lifting our pipes and praying and asking for guidance, the way it was with our people long ago, that they always, never, ever overstepped the Spirit, because they recognize the significance of Spirit, that it's through the Spirit that we are guided, that we're given dreams and visions that would help us to have a good life.
And it's amazing, it's totally amazing how the Creator works with us as a people. The people that I sat with brought dreams, visions, shared dreams and visions with one another to really catch the essence of what our message was going to be.
The main message in all of it, in all of our messaging from all of the knowledge keepers, was to return to the beginning, to return to who we are, to return to the original instructions given to us by the Creator.
In the beginning, there was only darkness and silence, but the sound of the shishigwan, the sacred rattle, broke the silence. In the distance, a shining blue light appeared, and it descended upon Mother Earth from the sky world through a portal called Pagonegijik, the hole in the sky. And it landed on Manitoba. This divine shining blue light is in each one of us. This is your spirit. The Anishinaabe people have gathered in this sacred place for thousands of years to have ceremony and to honor the spirit. One day a young boy was brought to Manitoba to fulfill a rite of passage, a vision quest. This is how a young boy became a man, by being initiated by the first woman, who we call Mother Earth. He fasted with no food or water for 4 days and 4 nights. Alone in the darkness, the young boy felt very afraid. As darkness fell, he would stay close to the sacred fire and wonder, why am I here? It was the final night. His eyes felt heavy. Comforted by the fire's warm glow, he drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, a strange sound snapped him awake. The boy quickly sat up and searched in all directions, but saw nothing. Then a deep voice came from the sacred fire.
My grandson, we have heard your call.
The boy turned to the flames and froze in disbelief as a large buffalo appeared.
Do not fear, for I bring you the first law of respect. I have given every part of myself to help the people to survive. Respect means giving from the heart without expecting anything in return. Now take this message, my boy, and share it with the people.
The buffalo stared deep into the boy's eyes, making a connection that spoke to his spirit before disappearing. As the young boy reflected on the law of respect, a loud screech from above startled him. The boy jumped up and looked to the sky. A huge gust of wind blew him to the ground. He looked up to see something incredible. An enormous eagle stood over him.
My boy, I am here to bring you the law of love. Unconditional love is expressed in your action of kindness. Love the land, for the land provides everything we need in order to survive. Love yourself, for it is only when you love yourself that you can truly love someone else. Love all life on earth. love the Great Spirit.
Grandfather Eagle brushed the boy with his wing. The bird's touch filled the boy with an overwhelming sense of love and kindness, and he began to cry with happiness. The eagle wrapped the boy in his wings, comforting him before flying up to the sky. He wiped away his tears as the eagle flew off, and then continued on his vision quest, feeling an overwhelming sense of love he received from Legacy, Grandfather Eagle. As he tended to the fire, he heard something in the forest. The crackling of branches and leaves gets louder and louder. He focused closely on the tree line and stepped closer to see what was there. From the bush, a giant grizzly bear appeared and approached the boy.
Brave one, I bring you the law of courage. Always do the right thing that is expressed from your heart. Courage is to have strength to resist doing something you know isn't right.
The boy and the bear looked at each other in silence. A feeling of courage washed over the boy. Then the bear turned and disappeared into the dark forest. After the bear left, the young boy was startled by a large noise. Something was stomping through the bush, and it was getting louder. The boy stood on guard as the treetops swayed. Whatever it was getting closer. Then silence. The only sound that the boy could hear was the sound of something breathing. Then he noticed a pair of eyes glowing in the darkness. Using all his courage, the boy stepped towards them. Slowly, a towering being covered in hair emerged from the bush. The boy froze as this massive human-like creature stood over him.
Young man, I bring you the law of honesty. To be honest is to be someone who is trusted and who speaks with truth. To never lie and always be genuine. Say what you mean what you say, and always stay true to your values.
The young boy, mesmerized by the words shared by the large being, held his heart as Sabe vanished into the darkness. On his way back to the fire, a soft whisper came from behind a fallen tree.
You have a gift, young man. You must share it.
The young boy quickly looked around, wondering where this soft voice came from. The young boy stepped closer to the fallen tree to see who was speaking to him. From the edge of the log, a white tail was lying flat on the ground. Suddenly, a big fluffy beaver jumped up and sat on the log. "Who are you?" the boy asked.
Bonjour, grandson. I bring you the law of wisdom. Wisdom is knowing you have a special gift and purpose, and using your gift to build a peaceful world. Everyone has a gift. Your gift was given to you by Kije Manitou to help the people. You will be happiest when you are using your gift.
After the beaver shared his teaching of wisdom, he quickly scurried off into the forest. The boy laid next to the fire. He looked up to the sky and wondered, "What is my purpose?" Just then, a loud howl echoed like a crack of thunder from the sky. The boy jumped up and saw the silhouette of an animal sitting on a cliff. It leapt down the rocks and approached the boy. Right in front of him, a large timber wolf stepped out of the shadows and bowed his head.
Bonjour. I bring you the law of humility. To know humility is to be humble and modest, and to know you are no more or less important than any other living being in this beautiful world. We all have been created equal. Think of others before you think of yourself, and be grateful for everything you have.
The wolf stepped back and let out another loud howl, bowed his head, and ran off into the darkness. The boy bowed his head to return the humbleness shared by the wolf. After receiving many visitors and teachings, the boy was feeling very tired. After preparing for bed, he lay silent, reflecting on all the wonderful teachings he had just received, when he began to hear a soft voice gently singing a beautiful traditional song. Eager to see where the beautiful music was coming from, he got up and looked over at a nearby petroform. A turtle emerged from behind the rock. She walked up to the boy, singing softly. After finishing her song, the turtle exhaled and smiled gently.
Grandson, you have listened well, as each animal gave you their teachings. I am here to bring you the law of truth. To know truth is to live and walk with all the 7 sacred laws you have just learned. When the human beings walk these laws, then there will be peace.
The turtle pointed to the horizon. Off in the distance, the boy received a vision of the turtle petroform. Then it quickly morphed into the first woman petroform, and finally transformed into the face of an old woman smiling down on him.
You have now been initiated by the first woman. You must never forget the sacredness of the gift of life that Mother Earth and all women bring to this world.
Grandmother Turtle gave a warm smile and faded into a white mist. The boy smiled as tears rolled down his face. The sun was rising in the distance as the boy opened his eyes to a new day. He had completed his vision quest. He gave thanks to Gajemanidu before making his way home to serve the people and to share these teachings with the world. Today we are proud to present a follow-up document to the 1971 Wahbung paper, and it has taken a lot of effort and ceremony to create this document, an initiative that we entitled Wahbanang, the Resurgence of a People, Clearing the Path for Our Survival. Wahbanang is the East, the rising sun, the place of birth and beginning. What we have done in this initiative is to highlight our true identity as a unique, distinctive, beautiful people.
Wahbanang is a compilation of all of the knowledge that was shared by knowledge keepers across Canada, the National Knowledge Keepers Council, from all the different nations, from all of the regions. And what they've shared with us is all the knowledge that has been shared with them from their forefathers and their ancestors. And the depth of the knowledge that was shared was intended to help and to guide our people in a healthy, good, positive path forward.
I remember the words of my father during the beginning days of our resurgence in our province. And there's words that he spoke that I believe are worth repeating. And he said, "We have a culture that is so rich when it comes to respecting all life and respecting the land." And he went on to say, for the Indian people to regain themselves, they must return to the traditional ways with regards to language and to their spirituality. This must be a part of the future. This is if we are able to be a true nation in our culture.
We all found that The ills that we see in our communities and with our people are a direct result of the impacts of colonization and the impacts of forced and imposed government policy. And it's affected us in every way possible, right to our core, right to what we call our genetic makeup. Especially with the children today, you see it in their disconnect from not only their language, which then means that they're disconnected from their culture.
It was the grandmothers that encouraged me to find the ways of our ancestors. And this is what helped me the most in my life, to realize what a beautiful and rich way of life that we have been gifted by our great Creator. It made me realize more than ever that we will never find our rightful place in our homeland until we have completely embraced our identity as a unique and beautiful people. The elders removed any doubt that I might have had in regards to our survival as a nation.
My grandmother, who was born in 1880, at the time of ceremony, simply said this to us, in other words, what she said, don't ever forget the language that we speak. One day if you forget the language, you'll forget the way we think, what the Creator has given to us. We'll have to use someone else's language, someone else's concepts, someone else's values and belief system to explain who we are. That's not what the Creator has given to us.
I remember a law that I've heard many times in the lodges, and that law was Abinon Jiga Gikwewen. Abinon Jiga Gikwewen means teachings that are given to a child that last forever, that can only be given by a woman, by a mother. It is the mothers that we need to support today. We have to put them back into their rightful role as the life givers. More than anyone, it is the mothers that need to have faith and belief in themselves, that they have been provided with the gift to guide our children to a good life.
For me to continue to build my belief in spirit, I go to different ceremonies, and we just finished in February one of our midday ceremonies, and there one of the elders from Ontario came, and he had a message, and his message is that as an Anishinaabe woman, the woman species, we cannot be called warrior woman. We cannot be called Ogijidakwe. And he said, you are Ogimakwe.
Women are life givers. Through the birth waters, they bring that life. As Mother Earth does, she sustains all life every day with her sustenance of good food and medicine. In the Mother Earth Lodge, teachings are given by grandmothers about how to be a good mother, aunt, daughter, and a woman.
The women had to be a significant role in leading and acting as the voice of the people. And that is what needs to be done. And it needs to be the grandmothers that must be positioned into their rightful place of influence to guide us out of this misery.
Teachings are provided to women on how to raise our children in a good way by implementing the 7 teachings of love, respect, courage, honesty, humility, wisdom, and truth.
It was taught through experience, in my case, with my kunshi, my father's mother, whom I lived with by choice, I and my brother, to help her and to care for her. And that was the most significant aspect of my life that I see now in retrospect as an older adult, that what she taught us was the foundation for everything else that we needed to do in our lifetime, to be what we call Ikjewichashta, the common person, but also a good person.
The sound of an eagle Mother Earth Lodge will bring balance to our lives. We will have respect for ourselves and for all life. We will understand our roles and responsibility. We will know how to take care of our children and have them in our home and in our communities, which is where they belong. Children should be safe and be taken care of in a good way.
And we had a discussion about the term Ininiwak, and the way that the elder explained it is that, because we have a God-given right, responsibility, that as women, we can carry that life.
In this lodge is where we will learn about the rites of passage teachings that are shared to young women as they are being prepared for motherhood. Women learn about the sacredness of water and learn how to honor the water by speaking and lifting the water in prayer and by giving thanks.
Creator, we say thank you for life itself. We say thank you for the water that you have given us that sustains all of life, the human life and all of the other life. Creator, I ask that you bless each and every one of us.
Pray, pray, pray. Prayer has power. You're walking, pray. And if you happen to be lucky to be near a sacred fire, pray. Put some tobacco into that fire for everyone. Everyone. Everyone needs that help and prayer.
Our days begin with prayer and with food offerings and with water offering. All of that because we've committed to doing that as Ikjewichashtar, as the common person, the person that the Creator made us to be. We can't forget those things, because when we start forgetting those things, the simplest of things, how can we possibly take care of the rest of it? So you have to remember to do those simple things every day, every morning when you wake up. Pray and say, thank you, Creator, for giving me another day to live. Because we never know when we're not going to wake up in the morning. We never know when we're going to drop and life is over for us. We can't be, to think that we're going to have more than today is to be arrogant. We need to continue speaking about the message and speaking about the necessity of our return to the beginning, returning to the original instructions of our Creator so that our children will have a good life. Everything we do today impacts our children and our grandchildren. And that we have to keep at the forefront of everything we do.
Wahbanang is encouraging all of us to take full responsibility, beginning with our leadership and most importantly, to immediately offer support to the youth, to be given a full immersion process, learning from the elders and the knowledge keepers.
And there is now a movement that I see where the young people are coming back. And it's so powerful. And Wahbanang helps in sharing those teachings and sharing those stories that we learned from our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, which they learned from their great-grandmothers and grandfathers.
We are presenting our way of life that has helped our people for tens of thousands of years.
And even in its simplest form, it's very, very profound, and there's so much lesson in it. And so I encourage people to look inwards, take stock of where they are in their life, and to believe in themselves and their purpose here, that everybody has a responsibility to ensure that we all have a good life, and when they don't, then somebody else is carrying them. And so that's what I hope, especially for the young people. And I'm so grateful when even one young person comes, because that means that we're impacting a whole family in the future, because that young person will have a family someday, and then it goes on from there. And that's the importance of, even if you can help one person, you will be helping generations of families from that one person, and people have to think about that and realize that and take that to heart.
We all carry a universal purpose to bring peace and kindness into our world. Make peace with each other and make peace with the earth. There is a doorway in our hearts that needs to be opened. Mother Earth can help us open that door. We can feel the peace in nature if we listen carefully to the wind, to the birds, to the animals, and to the trees that speak directly to our hearts. May I wish you all the best that spirit and nature can offer you as you compete with kindness and respect for each other.
Wahbung is written for everybody. It's written not only for all of our own people, which was what it was primarily targeted for in the messaging. Not that that was the intent, but that's how it came out. But it's also a message for all of humankind, that we've often said we have the answers because we were placed here on Turtle Island. We were placed here for a specific purpose. We were placed here with responsibilities, and we have to give voice to those responsibilities, and we have to provide the direction for the action to happen to ensure that those responsibilities are fulfilled, but also to ensure that our grandchildren, and we talk often of the 7 generations, will have a good life.
I hope that what we have done in producing this document would help all people. The Turtle Lodge has always been inclusive to all people. Has always had the door open for everyone to come. We never rejected anyone, because there is no prejudice in spirit. So we shouldn't have that either as human beings. And I hope that you're able to spread the message as much as you can, because it is within the sacred lodges that you will hear the truth. Sometimes it's hard to hear, but it has to be said, not to hurt anyone, but for us to consider the way that we are living. We have to change. And if we're able to come together motivated by the love that we should have for our children, then we should do everything that we can to collectively help each other, that we center our children again and allow our children to come back home. They can't come back home right now because there's nothing there for them yet. That's the work we have to do, to prepare these places and prepare the mothers, teach the mothers, the fathers, what it means to have a family. That's what the lodge is about. That's what healing is about. That's what health is about. The last place we need to go is to go to government. We need to come here. We need to hear that drum. We need to hear the elders speak. That's where the truth is.
I think it's important for all of us to remember what our leaders stood up for that time. When the government said to us, you'll be no longer Anishinaabe people, no more Cree people, no more Dakota people, you'll be like us. And we stood up and said, no, the Creator has given to us. a treaty time agoi doing the time of treaty. So I think for all of us, as we do our pipe ceremonies, it's our nationhood, it's our constitution, it's our law. That's what it is. On the government side, they also have those same principles where they define themselves as nations. For being a nation, like Canada and the United States, to have land, have to people, have language, have customs, have values, a form of government, and have to believe something greater. Well, we practiced that for thousands of years through our pipe ceremonies, and we still practice that today. So that's why we're still strong. The government or no other nation will ever destroy us, because we'll all be like that where we are. We never surrendered, we never gave up, we never give anything up from our time.
We hope that with this presentation, that we will finally be able to convince you that we are prepared to do our share as a group of people, and that we can resolve the situations that I have been and my colleagues have been referring to this morning. There is much more that I can say, because I sincerely believe that this direction that we're taking today is the only alternative that we have that will bring pride not only to our province, but to Canada as a whole. Thank you very much.